We found it. We found the planes off the top. Look at all of these triggers. Oh my goodness. This is... Whew. People sleep on this deck. Why for you sleep on this deck? Look at that. 10 triggers. He's at 4. How much do we mill? Boom, burn another one. I'll mill another creature, burn another one. And then if he sacks a creature, that's a good game.
Hello friends, Zara here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are playing some Eerie Ultimatum Abzan mid-range. This deck is a lot of fun. It's kind of a sleeper right now. Nobody's really playing it in the meta. They're all playing that Genesis Ultimatum Omnath deck with Landfall, or they're playing Dimir Rogues. It's kind of really stale right now. Even though Uro just got banned, nothing's really changing, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of sucks for the brand new format. But this one right here is a nice fun pick, and maybe if we can get some more minds to look at it, maybe people more experienced than myself, we can get Abzan mid-range to be a thing in the meta. I think it has a chance to seize that opportunity. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's way more interesting than most of the decks in the meta right now, in my opinion. Before we begin, I'd just like to remind everybody I post new content every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, so if you like what you see here, please hit that notification bell down below, as well as the subscribe button so you can get notified whenever I post a new video. You can also share this video out with your friends so we can get the Abzan train rolling, get this deck up to snuff, and compete with the meta. With all that being said, let's get in the deck list. We have 3 copies of Corpse Churn for 1 and a black, mill 3 cards, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This card works really well as we're playing quite a few adventure-based creatures, so we can add them back to the hand for your sorcery utility, as well as being a creature if we need them to be. Next up, we have 3 copies of Heartless Act, 1 and a black, instant speed, choose 1, destroy target creature with no counters on it, or remove up to 3 counters from target creature. Next, we have 3 Mire Tritons, 1 and a black, Death Touch Zombie Merfolk, 2/1, when Mire Triton enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards and gain 2 life. Self-mill, really important, extra life, a little bit of sustain, and Death Touch. What more can you ask for? Next up, we have 4 copies of the Binding of the Titans, 1 and a green. Enchantment Saga. First Saga, each player mills 3 cards. Second, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. For each creature card exiled this way, you gain 1 life. Third, return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Like I said, we're playing adventure-based creatures, so we can add the sorcery spells to our hand technically, which is really nice, especially if you mill like a Realm Cloak Giant, you can search a board wipe. Next up, we have 4 copies of Skull Prophet. 1 black and a green. It's a human druid, 3/1. Tap, add black or green, or tap to mill 2 cards. Next up, we have 1 copy of Murderous Rider. I would play more if I had more. 1 black zombie knight, 2/3 with adventure, swift end for 1 and 2 black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life. You can get it back off that Corpse Churn, so if you need that removal spell, this card fits nicely. And then he comes back in as a lifelink body. The only downside is that when he dies, he goes to the bottom of your owner's library, so if you cast him, then he doesn't get back off the ultimatum, but if you mill him, he still comes back as a lifelinker, which is pretty nice. Moving on, we have 1 copy of Acolyte of Affliction, 2 black-green, human cleric, 2/3. When Acolyte of Affliction enters battlefield, mill 2 cards, then you may return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. This can be a land, can be a creature, can be our adventure creatures, like Murderous Rider, get the spell, super useful. Next up, we have 1 copy of Polukranos Unchained, 2 black-green, legendary creature zombie Hydra, 0/0. It enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it, and escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to it while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters from it. Gets around Death Touch. Super important. For 1 black-green, Polukranos fights another target creature. Its escape cost is 6. Super nice. If we mill it, we can still cast it. Even if we don't have the ultimatum or any form of resurrection, we can still cast it for the escape and exile. The order of exiling is you want to exile the sorceries and instants first, and then any duplicates, because you can only get single copies off the ultimatum, so you want to keep as many targets for the ultimatum in there as possible, in the graveyard, that is. Overall, this card fits perfectly in. I like it for the 1 copy. Moving on, we have 1 copy of Clackbridge Troll. For 3 black, creature troll, trample haste. When Clackbridge Troll enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 3/0/1 white goat creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If a player does, tap Clackbridge Troll. You gain 3 life and draw a card. This card works really well with Massacre Worm, and we'll get onto that in a second. Also, the life gain is really important, as well as drawing cards is nice, because this deck doesn't have very many ways to draw cards. Lots of ways to mill them and add them back, but not so many ways to draw them, so Clackbridge Troll fills that very nicely. I would play 2 if I had a second one. Next up, we have 2 copies of Sir Conrad the Grim, 3 black legendary human knight. He is a 5/4. Whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put in the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. For 1 and a black, each player mills a card. As you can see, his effect procs off of 90% of what our deck wants to do. So perfect synergy with this deck. Really nice to get off of the Ultimatum, as I'll go over at the end of the deck list. Next up, we have 1 copy of Nethroi Apex of Death, 2 white, black, green. Legendary creature Cat Nightmare Beast. Yes, he is a lot of things. It has Death Touch, Lifelink, 5/5 with Mutate for 7. Whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So a really nice thing you can do for him for that 7 is you can get back a Conrad for 5, a Skull Prophet for 3, and a Mire Triton for 2, which equals 10. You get 3 cards back, plus you get a 5/5 Death Touch Lifelink. The only downside to him is that he doesn't mutate on top of Skull Prophet because he is a human. He does mutate on top of Murderous Rider, the Triton, and any of your other big things, though. Next up, we have 2 copies of Massacre Worm, 3 black, 6/5 creature worm. When Massacre Worm enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent controls get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, that player loses 2 life. This is a really good combination with Clackbridge Troll, as well as Sir Conrad the Grim. If you can get all 3 of them out off of an Eerie Ultimatum, you are in great shape. We also have 2 copies of Realm Cloak Giant, 5 white, 7/7 with Vigilance, creature giant. The important part is his sorcery cast off. 3 white, destroy all non-giant creatures. We are playing some giants, so he won't destroy those, but the important thing is he's a creature. So if we mill him, then we can add him back off the Binding of the Titans or the Corpse Turn. So he's basically a searchable, semi-searchable creature board wipe. Overall, really good card. I am liking it with the Corpse Turn and the Binding of the Titans, as he is a searchable board wipe. There's many times where I'm just trying to mill him so I can add him back, which is really good. Even if you just have the pressure of having him in hand, the opponent might play a little slower as they don't want to get their board wiped. And by them playing slower and slowing down the game, we can get to our ultimatums even more consistently. Next up, we have 4 copies of Beanstalk Giant, 6 and a green. Beanstalk Giant's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. His adventure is Fertile Footsteps for 2 and a green. Sorcery Adventure, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Another card that we can add off of Binding of Titans if we need to, or our Corpse Turn. So if we mill him, we can add him back, then we can ramp from that. Kind of taking the place of a Cultivate, but he does more in this deck than Cultivate does. I did play with Cultivate for a bit. Cultivate gives you 1 land on the battlefield, 1 land in your hand, but when you mill it, it doesn't do anything. But if you mill a Beanstalk Giant, it's a creature that you can get back. And by the time you get him back, the lowest he's going to be is probably a 5/5. Most of the time, he's going to be a 7/7 or bigger. Plus, Ultimatum will get him more lands back, usually, and then he becomes even bigger. Maybe like a 10/10, 12/12. Beanstalk Giant's pretty powerful. Next up, the main focus of the deck, Eerie Ultimatum, white, black, and green. Sorcery, return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. So as you can see, we do play quite a few 1-ofs. The important thing is it gets cards with different names, and they're all permanents. So that's why we're playing the adventure creatures, because they have the sorcery utility where we can add them back for being sorcery. But then if they're milled, they can come back as the creature, which is really important. If you can get Eerie Ultimatum to get back a Massacre Worm, a Clackbridge Troll, and a Conrad, then you have a really nice combo where the Troll creates 3 goats, the Massacre Worm blows up 3 goats, burning for 6, Conrad sees that 3 things died, and then he burns for another 3, and you have an 8/8 with haste and trample. So you just burned them for 9, as well as put an 8/8 on board, and potentially cleared out more cards that they had, and if you didn't, they're all weaker, so your trample is more effective. Next for the lands, as you can see, we're not playing dual lands, like the dual colored lands, because we want the basic lands, so we can search them off Beanstalk Giant, and get them back that way. But for the lands, we have 3 plains, 6 swamps, 4 forests, 2 bright climb pathways, which on the other side is a grim climb pathway for black, 2 evolving wilds, and 2 fabled passage. Fabled Passage and Evolving Wilds are very important, as when you get them back, you can then sacrifice them and search for another land, thinning out the deck so that your mills are more likely to be important. Next up for our modal dual face cards, the MDFCs, we have the most important one, the biggest buff to this archetype from Zendikar Rising, Bala Ged Recovery. It's 2 and a green sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. The important part of this is it says return target card, meaning we can get back the Eerie Ultimatum if we happen to mill it. It's also a land if we need it to be in the early game. It just enters tapped. Then we have our Bolt lands, Emeria's Call, Agadeem's Awakening, and Turn Timber Symbiosis. They're all our Bolt lands with added utility, and the one of Ondu Inversion, which destroys all non-land permanents. The most important for the Bolt lands, they're not all needed, but the most important one is Agadeem's Awakening, as it is X black sorcery. Return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have different converted mana costs, X or less. The key is trying to get that X to be 7, because at 7 mana, we can get back a lot of stuff. We can get back a Massacre Worm, a Realm Cloak Giant, or a Beanstalk Giant, one of our 5 drops, Acolyte or a Polakranos, a Murderous Rider, a Skull Prophet, basically one from every single column here. Whew, that was the deck list. A lot of stuff to be said, a lot of fun to be had. This deck is great. It is 63 cards, so there is a little bit of room for improvement there. If you guys see anything that you would change, let me know in the comments down below. Let's build this deck together. Let's try to overtake that meta, try to have something a little spicy brought in here. With all that being said, enjoy the gameplay.
Alrighty, here we are, jumping to our next game against Der Arbiter. He's our opponent. Let's see. We have access to all 3 colors. Always a bonus. An ultimatum. A Skull Prophet. Lots of land. We will see, though. I'm going to keep it because we have 4 lands. And this deck really wants lands. We have a Heartless Act to deal with any early game threat that he procures. We'll play this tapped. Click on my elemental, make him mad. Oh, he's angry. What does the owl do? Ooh, it's mad. Okay, green red. I really don't want that thing to stick around, actually. I'm just gonna kill it. Any sort of card draw is bad. No letting them draw cards. I'm sure he's got a Bone Crusher Giant in hand. That's gonna deal with him. It's definitely gonna Bone Crusher me. Except I think Bone Crusher costs 3. I need to brush up on my knowledge of red. It's my least played color. Not a fan of red. No, it does cost 2. Yep, he did have a Bone Crusher. I was correct. And he does cost 3, it's just the instant that costs 2. Bone Crusher, yep. Gonna play a 5/5 with Lifelink next turn. Okay. He's gonna buff its attack with that gnome guy. Nope, we didn't do that. I guess it's a dwarf. It's a dwarf that buffs the attack, not a gnome. Skull Prophet or Nathroi? Skull Prophet opens up a Massacre Worm play next turn. This gives me a 5/5 with Lifelink and Death Touch. Death Touch doesn't matter when you're a 5/5 most of the time. I'm just hoping 5's out of his threshold of burn. Can you deal 5 damage to it? Let's see. He's thinking. Nope, burns my face instead. Typical red deck. This deck doesn't do super well against aggro. But with the life linker, that's kind of why we play him, so we can stabilize. Just hoping he can't burn it for 5. That's okay. We'll trade. Death touch for death touch. Five life. It's alright in my book. Play the Master Worm. So we just have a big body. Can you burn this one for 5? Those are very pretty sleeves. I like them. I think they're fitting with this deck. Like how you have that Planeswalker symbol. It's super cool. But the artists for Magic are phenomenal. I'll block that. Burn him. Kill him. Go for it. Kill the Master Worm. Use your resources. Give me a Plains. Yep. Oh, he hurt himself to do it, though. Slowing down the red deck is okay by me. There's lots of cards we can draw that'll help us here. Plains is up there. I think that would be God tier draw. Top deck Plains off the top. I only have like 2 in the deck. It's not a Plains. Get that toucher. Ooh, we found a Walkernos. And we milled the troll. This is good. We have 2 combo pieces for our ultimatum. We just need the Plains. So we can draw like a Beanstalk Giant will get us the Plains. The Titans could get us the Plains, but it'll just take a little longer. We can try to mill a Wilds or a Fabled Passage, and then our 4-drop can get it back to us for a Plains as well. I'm gonna start burning my stuff down. Really don't want to play Walkernuts. Wow, we've gotten 3 of them so far. That's pretty nice. Let's talk about this guy's draws. Wow. Hey, that's not quite what we wanted, though. I just want a Plains. I just want a Plains. We'll block the Bone Crusher Giant with the Skull Prophet if he swings. We want a Plains so we can blow that up. Give us a Plains. Give us a Plains. That's all we want is a Plains. I'll eat that 3. I'll block the 4/3. Oh, we gotta do that. And we'll mill 2. Okay. Not a Plains, so you have a chance to draw Plains. Plains off the top. It's not a Plains, is a Death Toucher. Still not seeing the Plains, but we're still at 20 health. 1 Plains should win us the game, to be honest. Yeah, I think a Plains wins us the game. We just need to find it. We'll take a lot off this guy. If he's willing to swing. 3 Bone Crusher Giants, man. Must be nice. And a Questing Beast and a Gorgoroth. This guy's drawn really nice. You want to swing with Gorgoroth. You know you do. You gonna kill it first? He's got 3 cards in hand, 3 mana open. He's really spending 3 to kill it. Bone Crusher Giant is a giant, however, which makes things a little bit iffy. So we can't Realm Cloak Giant to kill it. It's one of the issues with Realm Cloak Giant over something like Shadow the Sky. Shadow the Sky destroys everything. We found it. We found the Plains off the top. Look at all of these triggers. Oh my goodness. This is... Whew. People sleep on this deck. Why for you sleep on this deck? Look at that. 10 triggers. He's at 4. How much do we mill? Boom, burn another one. I'll mill another creature, burn another one. And then if he sacks a creature, that's a good game. And that's why you play Eerie Ultimatum. It's exactly why you play it. Good game, sir. Good game. Whew, what a wonderful game. I love that card. Okay, so here we are against our opponent, Krenko. We have access to 3 colors. I like it. We keep it. 3 colors is really important to this deck. We'll play the Sanctuary. Off the top, we get the Plains. Let's search for another swamp. So this guy's probably playing aggro. A lot of aggro going around today. Rakdos. Okay. I would like to see you 1 turn earlier, my friend. Just keep playing to the curve. The Plains, because that's the hardest one to get, and we have access to the other 2. Take 1. Interesting. Play this guy. Play this guy. Have him kill it. Use his kill spell. I'm sure he has one. Nope, I didn't use it. I'm still sure he has something. Yep, there it comes. Killing it. It's fine. Got 1 kill spell out of him. Play a Triton. Gain a little life. Mill a couple cards. And Masquerade. Good mill. Skull Prophet. Both Skull Prophets mean the ultimatum is live. 1 second pull. 1 second, you know, if they stick. I don't know if they're gonna stick. We are playing against a removal deck. We got rid of the Death Touch. I like that. Fine by me. Another shock. Interesting. So now we do need to draw another land to make the ultimatum live. It's not another land. Play the Prophet anyway. Wow, is that 4 shocks? That's 3 shocks. Interesting. For an aggressive, I assume aggressive deck. Guess not. It seems more control-y. Weird. That is a land. That is actually a good land. 2, 4, 5, 6. To tap, we'll play Polochronos, the Unchained. 6/6. Deal with it. Heartless Act doesn't work. Shock doesn't work. Okay, you make him a little weaker. That was 4 shocks. My goodness. No, ultimatum. That's okay. We already have 2. Honestly, we'll take this because. Oh well. Okay. Why did he die? I thought I still had... Interesting. I thought he still had counters on him. Why did he die? What can we get rid of? 1, 2, 3... Not quite what I want to do yet. We want a swamp off the top. We'll take that extra 2 damage. It got rid of also a demonic embrace that he also had to pay for. So we both took 2 damage there. Oh, I took 4 damage there. A profit's okay. Means we can ultimatum. He doesn't have another shock. He can't have another shock. That is impossible. What do we get back? We get back Plokros, Prophet, Triton, Master Worm, Seer, and Evolving Wilds? Sounds good to me. He discarded the draw. He's gonna hit me for 6 flying. His board's gone. We're gonna take 2. We're gonna gain 2. Search for a black. If he doesn't have 4 burn in the hand, we should win, and he does not. So that is... Oh, he can still draw. You draw 4 at the hand. Kaisel Freebooter. So you're gonna get rid of the Eerie Ultimatum. Just swing. And good game. No. No. Ping him. No. Oh, ping him again. Cool. There we go. All we had to do was sustain. Ultimatum won us the game. It's pretty close though. Pretty close. So here we are back with the deck list. There you can see some of those games. Just that's why you play Eerie Ultimatum, for blowout games like that where you just swarm the board with a million different creatures, have so many triggers happen off the ETB effects. There's another deck that I want to make similar to this that uses Urion, which is a companion that you can have in your deck if you have 80 cards in your deck. I think that'd be really cool. The more things that we can get off the Eerie Ultimatum, the better. There you have it. There's my take on Eerie Abzan. Still work in progress. A lot of fun to play. Like I said, if I had some more of those adventure cards that I can get back off the corpse churn, or maybe we can kind of laser focus in on that right there. Maybe a little bit more sustain, a little more removal wool. We don't know. Maybe just cut 3 cards and make it a little bit more consistent. Let me know what you would do to tweak the deck down in the comment section below. With that all being said, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.